name's John Thompson. I'm currently cycling last leg of my 11-day journey from Brighton to UK to Oslo, Norway. So I'm about 49 miles in of 71 today. So off to a good start. Get a ferry tonight. So that's one of the reasons why I'm quite keen to get going. I don't want any margins of error there. So allowing time for punches, etc. So yesterday's ride was by far the hardest. As one of the guests at my B&B informed me in Colding that my next leg of the journey was as hilly as it gets in Denmark. I wasn't too sure whether he meant, yeah, it's a bit hilly but not too bad, or yeah, it's really hilly but you're really unlucky because that's the only part of Denmark that's actually hilly. Well, it was pretty hilly. Lots of long, slow hills. Sap the life out of you. And really fun. It was raining for a good half to 3/4 of the day. So, of course, I had wet weather gear with me. The most efficient of which was some booties. Basically they're made from a similar material to swimsuits. Give you the buoyancy. I forgot what it's called, neoprene or something. Anyway, yeah. So my feet are nice and dry and toasty, and I had a light raincoat on, which is not that effective, but yeah, it does the job. And as long as the rain doesn't continue non-stop, you do dry off. But it certainly didn't help matters. Then we got towards the last sort of 30 miles of the 90 to do. The scenery changed quite dramatically, and it was actually rather pleasant. It's one of those times you're thinking, if I wasn't so bloody knackered, I'd be really enjoying this ride. And then right at that point, I've got a puncher. Started off as a slow puncher, which is really annoying because you think, so I just pump it up, go on for a bit, see how it goes. So at one point I stopped on a very quiet road, or a remote little village, and had I suppose it was a picnic spot, but a very small picnic spot, just one table. I stopped there, have a little snack and pump my tyre up. And almost as soon as I stopped there, this car came from nowhere and just pulled into this tiny little lay-by and just sat there looking at me, or at least I think he or she was looking at me. I couldn't tell because of the way the light was, you couldn't see through the windscreen. And the lights were in this car. It didn't turn its engine off, it just sat there. I thought, maybe it's just having a rest. But after about good 5 to 10 minutes of this, I started getting a bit spooked. I was contemplating at that point changing the tube of my tyre. I thought I'm a long way from anywhere and I don't really know where the score is, and so I think I'll just go. So off I went. Fortunately the car didn't pull off behind me, so off I went. And I took several left and right turns. I thought that'd probably be the last. And then you have one of those moments where you're riding along and there is a mirror fitted in this bike as well, and I can hear a car coming up behind me. I said, I know what I'm thinking, I hope that's not him, I look in my mirror, and then sure enough it's the car, and it's going really slowly, approaching me from behind. I think, this this explains why wherever I go in Denmark there's abandoned bicycles, like Mary Celeste bicycles. They've not been, you know, not had all their bits nicked or anything like that. It's perfectly good bicycles just lying in the oddest of places. And fortunately, turned out to be an elderly guy. I don't know. He was probably just concerned for me. I don't know. But it just passed, and that was it. That was the end of it. But it's amazing how your mind works in these situations when you start feeling a bit vulnerable. So then I did have to stop. The back tyre finally gave out, and I had to change the. I ended up changing the tyre and the inner tube. There was a really nasty bit of flint stuck in the tyre, which had, I mean, they're special reinforced Kevlar reinforced tyres, and it pierced that and pierced the inner tube. So I was carrying a spare tyre, so sometimes it's easier just to change the tyre and the inner tube in case there's still something in the tyre and you get another puncture. Bit of a pain in the arse changing the back wheel on this bike, so that was a sort of another half-hour delay. But I was so exhausted I could barely pump up the tyre as well, because it's got a tiny little pump. It's ridiculous. I mean, it pumps on the push and the pull, but it's still only about 8 inches long. So did my best, got it to sort of pressure that was good enough to ride on, and off I went. So last night's stay in the in Hobro. Woo, going for a tunnel. You can see my face now. Yeah, last night's stay pleasant enough. Quite an expensive hotel, but then I guess I'm in a Scandinavian country, so everything's expensive. And yeah, very tired, so I had an early night. Breakfast buffet this morning, so filled my boots. I made myself a little, what they call here, or certainly in Norway, a mutterpack, which is like a couple of sandwiches for your walking trip, or in my case cycling trip. So well, I was well provisioned up until about an hour ago when I just ate everything. So, thoughts on the trip so far. Just like the long trip I did last year, Lands to John and Grace. And most of the fun, I have to confess, is in the planning and execution. It's just, there's so much slog involved. I can certainly think of points before this is really a beautiful spot, or I'm actually enjoying this, but they're kind of short. They're kind of, so you make mental notes like, oh, maybe I'll come back here one day and cycle it when I'm under less pressure. Of course, probably never will. If you're planning a cycling holiday, I thoroughly recommend Belgium. It's by far the most pleasurable country to cycle. So as you can hear, I'm laughing a bit. It's because, well, most of the videos I've made so far haven't been much earlier in the day, so I am starting to get to the fatigue point, which is usually around 50 miles, and also I think I'm going uphill, so it won't be all over when I get to Frederikshavn. That'll be where I'll be getting the overnight ferry into Oslo. But I said I would ride from my front door to my brother's front door, so there's still a little bit of a ride from the port to my brother's house, and I suspect it's all going to be uphill and probably longer than I thought. There you go. It's one part of the journey I hadn't actually mapped out in precise detail. So, my brother had suggested he was going to ride with me, but I'm not sure that he's well enough even to do that now, so I'm not really sure whether I'm going to be seeing him at the pool or the house. And at some point I'm going to be met, I think, someone from the Journalisten, which is the Norwegian union newspaper, magazine I should say. The last time I listened to Journalisten, it was a really high quality production, really nice photographs, and obviously had a really crack team working hard, producing great features on. From what I hear, like everything else, it had to prove itself commercially. So on one of the revenue streams, unfortunately for it, was recruitment advertising. So I think it might have suffered for a bit in the last year or so. I dare say I'll find out more. So overnight there's been a few more sponsors for the Cancer Research UK and Just Support UK. A couple of anonymous, so thank you anonymous people. One was from this lovely lady called Lee Hibberdine, who has been very supportive of this ride for me. She's a cancer charity volunteer. I found out last night it's because her own child has GIST, that same sort of rare type of cancer that her brother has, and she very generously donated £25 last night, which is fantastic considering I know this is a woman who does lots of work for those charities already, so I was very touched by that. Anyway, thanks for watching. I dare say I'll see if I can fit another video in when I get to Norway, and for all those who supported in one way or another, whether it's just retweeting or words of encouragement or it's actual sponsorship, I thank you very much. Bye for now.